Hello there, Facebook friends. Brian King here. I'm way ahead of schedule for my morning errands, and I felt like fulfilling a request that one of my Facebook friends had. I had made some mention yesterday of changing out of my sport coat and dress shirt into a polo shirt to sweater because for sensory reasons, it was a better fit. And this person asked, hey, this is kind of off my radar. Would you mind expanding on that? The implications that clothing has for sensory. Hey, Phoebe. So I'm absolutely going to do that. Those of you that are tuning in now, please say hi, give me a like or a love. Let me know that you're here so we can have an actual conversation. Another thing that people have told me is I need to use more humor in the videos because I'm much more humorous in everyday life. My default setting tends to be silly, so I figured I'd give you more of that. So in terms of the implications of sensory and clothing, let's start from the top down, okay? I'm wearing a hat, okay? My hat was specifically chosen for sensory needs. It's made of a stretchy material, so it kind of squeezes my head a little bit, just a little bit. Not so much that it cuts off blood circulation to my brain or causes a migraine. What it does is provide just a little bit of deep pressure to help me stay a little calmer and focused throughout the day. It's also good for hiding my receding hairline, or if I want to be a hip-hop badass, or anything like that, okay? So the hat has multi-purposes. My 14-year-old Aiden, if you've seen any pictures of him, he wears a winter stocking cap, okay? And it provides a couple reasons for him. The first is that it's a constant. When he goes to school or moves through life and there's a lot of changes and transitions, his hat is one thing that never changes. So it's a source of security. He is also really hates any kind of a chill in the air. And the hat helps keep his head warmer. Unfortunately, he sometimes wants to wear it in 90-degree weather, so we swap it out for a baseball cap. Now, the baseball cap, when you turn it around, is a wonderful protection against sunlight if you have a sun sensitivity, or light sensitivity, rather. Aiden uses his stocking cap, he pulls it over his eyes when we're in the car and it's too sunny. So he uses it that way. When he's out and has the baseball cap, same thing. I have a light sensitivity, so I'll turn it around because it helps me avoid the sun or fluorescent lighting if I'm indoors. It helps beautifully for that. Now, let's move on to the torso. I know people that like to wear suits, not necessarily because they're all blinged out and look professional, which is a bonus, but because they fit so tight. People that really like deep pressure would like to wear tighter clothing. Okay, I am a big fan of turtlenecks in the wintertime for two reasons. They're snug, and I don't like chills either. Chills that hit my neck give me a headache. They make me tense. They're exhausting. So I try to avoid cold as much as possible. And right now, I'm a lot more tired recently because I'm suffering from an acute case of autumn. The weather has cooled off a little bit. That really impacts my energy level and my focus. And Connor's the same way as far as temperature sensitivity. If there's the remotest chance of there being some kind of a chill, he will dress up like he's going on an Arctic expedition. He wears his winter coat, gloves, sometimes two pairs of gloves, one knitted and then one that's kind of manufactured with the vinyl. And he wears a scarf. You'd think that we were trying to protect the kid from nuclear fallout. He gets on the bus when it's 50 degrees. The other kids are maybe wearing a sweatshirt. He's dressed up like he's going to go look for Frosty the Snowman. But, hey, whatever works for you, kiddo. If that helps you stay calm and focused when you go into school, go for it. And if anybody criticizes you, send them my way. Because I have Facebook friends, and I'll tell my friends all about them and how nasty they are. So, in my case, I like wearing sweatshirts. They're snug. I can pull the hood up if there's a little chill. And that's pretty much me on the torso. Now, let's move down to the pants. We discovered with Aiden when he was a toddler that jeans were essentially torture for him. If you try to put jeans on him, he would kick violently and scream. He did not want jeans on his skin. And now that he's older, and I checked in with him again this morning to see if this was still true for him, he says that the jeans are too scratchy. And Connor said the same thing. Now, scratchy for you might not be the same scratchy for us, okay? When we say scratchy, we mean sandpaper. Sandpaper against your skin. Imagine feeling that not only when it's just sitting on your skin, but also when you move. You kind of move around in your seat, you're walking, and all of a sudden, the pants just rub against your skin and it feels like someone grabbed a nice big pad of sandpaper and raked it across your skin. Could you imagine feeling that all day long? It sucks. And it can sometimes get to a threshold where you become pissed. You become very defensive because you've kind of bundled this up all day long in your system and now you have to let it go. And many kids that are made to dress appropriately will come home from school and strip down to their underwear because they can't wait to get this off their skin. Now, jeans I've learned to tolerate over the years. I'm wearing a pair of jeans right now. But if I could live in sweats and show up at presentations and just present in sweats, I would do it. I like sweats because they're soft. They're calming. It's like a nurturing sensation on my skin. It helps me stay calm. Aiden only has sweats. I mean, we gave up on trying to get pants on him because he won't have it. You know, if it's slacks, if it's, jeans, not going to happen. And Connor's kind of following suit. And fortunately, they're in the public schools. There's no dress code. People aren't sweating it. If he shows up in sweats, who cares? Sometimes Aiden wears a button-down dress shirt and sweats. He's cool. He says nobody bugs him about it. I would wear a button-down dress shirt, but with my Buddha belly, buttons would be bursting, okay? So I don't want to make a mess or put someone else's eye out. So I'm going to stay away from dress shirts. Then there is the feet. Oh, wait, let me go back to the shirts for a second. Many of you know, and this is probably common knowledge in the Spectrum community, tags. The old tags that would rake against the back of your neck like a bee stinging you over and over and over again. I remember when I was little, grabbing a pair of scissors and cutting the tag out so close to the seam that I would create a hole in the back of every shirt I owned. Because those tags bugged me so much. We found the same issue with our kiddos. And in the past, maybe 5-6 years ago, we would have to go on a treasure hunt to find clothes without tags. Now, somebody out there, thank you, whoever you are, caught on to this desire out here in the consumer population. So now finding clothes without tags is much easier. They're replacing what the tag previously had on it with some kind of a silk screen with the same information right on the inside of the shirt. Don't feel it, don't know it's there, everybody's happy, okay? Now, the feet. Socks can be hot, socks can have seams, they can be too loose, they can slide down a lot and aggravate the light touch sensitivity that you have, so kids might want to go barefoot. In my case, kind of bittersweet, I have compression socks because part of my Ehlers-Danlos is I have swelling in my lower legs. And the compression socks helps put enough squeeze on my calves to push the fluid out of there. And that deep pressure also feels very nice and very calming. So for kids that like deep pressure, get them some compression socks. Let them wear them underneath their jeans or their pants so they have some of that deep pressure throughout the day. And socks that have seams, let your kid wear them inside out. Who the heck is looking at their feet anyway? And if anybody happens to notice it and give them grief, and they say, hey, your socks are inside out, you're going to say, I know. Any other observations you'd like to make? The more you can deal with it as though it's no big deal, the more people will move on. Okay? So let me see what I've missed. Shoes. Shoelaces for fine motor dexterity issues can be a problem. Our kids either have Velcro or zippers. They can just slide their feet in and out. Shoes, again, can be hot. If they're not a perfect fit, they can feel unstable. If your kid's foot moves around in the shoe, a kid who feels clumsy anyway might not feel stable in shoes. So they want the shoes and the socks off so their feet are touching the ground and they can feel much more stable. So that's pretty much my experience on the sensory issues as far as clothing goes, from my own standpoint and my kids' standpoint. And I have to work a lot with the kids that I work with, and even some of the adults that are either on the autism spectrum or have ADHD. One of the things they don't consider is not only the problems of the space they find themselves in, whether it's smells, too many things on the wall that are too busy. They don't necessarily tune into, what did you put on your body? Because that can set you up for a quicker meltdown, because your threshold is already compromised, because you either chose or were made to wear clothing that is already overwhelming you. So it's really important to know these things about yourself and make the adjustments and learn how to self-advocate for why you do what you do. Because one thing you and I know, there are plenty of armchair quarterbacks out there who believe that they are the center of the universe and self-appoint themselves as manager of the universe, and they have to correct you for every little thing that is out of place according to what they, oh, pardon me, leaned on my own horn. That's a wonderful way to get my attention. They believe that they have the authority to look at you and say, you're doing this wrong because I decided it's right, and you're supposed to wear this with that, and you're supposed to dress in a certain way, and you're supposed to carry yourself, blah, 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 blah. Self-advocacy allows you to stand confidently within who you are and say, I'm meeting my needs so that I can be the most effective person possible when I go out and engage society. I want to bring value to my fellow human being, and the only way I can do that is if I take care of me first. And I do it by meeting my sensory needs. There is a way to self-advocate confidently where you show the other person that their thinking about these things is limited. And you have the opportunity to educate and open their minds just a little bit so they realize that although you have lived this way for a very long time and a lot of friends agree that this is the way things are, I must remind you that you are bullshitting yourself, because this world is one that thrives on diversity. I got dressed in the dark yesterday, and I put on compression socks, but I put on one from two different pairs. They didn't match. And Kath happened to notice that, not to criticize, just making an observation. She says, hey, your socks don't match. And then I looked at my socks, and I thought to myself, well, I'm an advocate for diversity. If I'm going to talk the talk and walk the walk, how much better can I do than to walk in shoes that don't match? Because there's diversity. So that's how I spun it to my advantage. Also because my legs were too sore to walk back upstairs and change the socks. But anyway, it serves multiple purposes. Now, I didn't have a chance to read through all the comments, but I promise you, when I get home later, I will read through all of them. And if there are questions there, I will answer them. So thank you all for tuning in and for all of your comments. You're so awesome. Who do you know that can benefit from this? Because if you're a parent of a child that has sensory sensitivities, has ADHD or dyslexia, you know other parents who have kiddos with the same issue. You may even have adult kids that have this challenge, and they don't quite have the awareness that they need around this issue in order to accommodate it. So make a list of those people and share this video with them so they can benefit also. And please remember, I'm here to help. If there's a challenge around this and you want my ideas, my strategies for managing it better, send me a private message. We'll get on the phone and talk. It's easy peasy. I'm happy to help you. And thank you so much again for coming. I adore you. I appreciate you. I'm so glad you show up every day when I do these videos. This is Brian, and we'll talk again soon.